What's up, guys? Today is November 29th, and that means December is 2 days away, which marks the beginning of the winter bass season. And that means two things for bass. One, the bass fishing is going to get tough, but two, on the flip side, they're going to be absolute monsters in the water. And you might just be able to land a fish of a lifetime if you know what you're doing. So stay tuned if you want to learn more tips and tricks that may just lead to the biggest bass of your life. In the winter, you're going to want to be fishing the deepest part of the pond, and that's usually located closest to the dam and the area around it. The reason you want to fish this area is because all the warm water congregates at the bottom of the deepest section, and what this does is bring the bait fish to the area and ultimately the bass. While targeting this area, you want to target the bottom of the pond and the middle of the water column. In the winter, I like to start off by throwing slow moving baits. This is so I can cover the most water possible by keying in on the fish as quickly as possible. First up is jerk baits. What you're going to do is throw these out and rip them 3 or 4 times and let them pause. You're going to pause from anywhere from a second up to 10 seconds. I usually like to do 5, that's just my personal preference, but anything will work. Next up is flat-sided crankbaits. What you're going to do with these is just throw them out and reel them back. These aren't the same as square bills though. It's really important that you get a flat-sided one. They have a much narrower body than a square bill. You can see the difference right here. What this does is make it have a much narrower wobble compared to a square bill that's going to have a wobble that's more out here. It's a much more settled presentation for these finicky winter bass. Next up are swim baits. What you're going to do is just throw this out and reel it back nice and slow. These can trigger some of the biggest bass you'll ever catch in your life. What you can also do is let it pause for an extended period of time. This is known as dead sticking and can also trigger an awesome bite. Next up are spinners. I like to throw Colorado bladed spinners, which are different than willow bladed spinners because they allow you to slow down that lure a lot in the water. What you're going to do with these is throw it out and just reel it back nice and slow. You're starting to get a trend here. These bass are finicky and they want something that is moving slow and does not take a lot of energy to get. You can also try pausing them and just letting them sink for a brief period of time and then starting them back up again. Try whatever, see what works for you, and go catch a big one. If I'm not having any luck catching slow moving baits or the bite's tough, I like to move straight to the bottom. And I'll do this by either throwing a jig or soft plastics. When I move to the bottom, I first like to throw a jig, and I'll either throw a finesse jig or just a regular jig. And this comes straight to preference. I've had more luck with a finesse jig in the past, but go out there and see what works for you. And what you're going to do with these guys is just throw them on the bottom and just work them back to you, just nice and slow. Another great option is the drop shot, which is a rig that allows you to fish a worm weightless above the bottom. This is really great for catching finicky bass. Another great weapon is the wacky rig. This can be one of the deadliest lures in your arsenal. What you're going to do with this is just throw it out and let it fall on a slack line. It will fall extremely slow and nice and subtle, and these fish can't stand it. Finally, guys, just about any drop shot or Carolina rigged with a worm or creature bait will do the trick for catching these finicky winter bass. So if these tips have been helpful and they helped you catch a personal bass or just some winter fish, please comment, like, and subscribe if you want more.